saluden a Titi, vamos a tirarnos un selfie. 6 cheese, ey, que sonrían las que ya les metían. Un VIP, un VIP.
What's up, y'all? It's just Rhonda. Welcome to my channel. Happy Monday, everyone. It's time for some coffee talk. You know where we gonna start. Did y'all watch the Super Bowl? I did not. I told y'all last night I don't care about either team. I did say I prefer the Seahawks over the Patriots, and so that's who won. So shout out to the Seahawks. Y'all went ahead and got that ring. I don't really know anybody over there. DK Metcalf is gone. And so, this is how I do football. When my people leave, then I leave. So, what's his name? Russell Wilson was over there. He left. And then, DK Metcalf left. And DK is in trouble because somebody, allegedly said a slur to him and he swung on this dude. So he's in the middle of a lawsuit. But yeah, so congrats to the Seahawks. What did y'all think of Bad Bunny? Bad Bunny came over here and did his thing. And, I personally enjoyed it. When Kendrick came over here, he had a whole lot of subliminals for y'all. And so I'm going to go ahead and see, Bad Bunny had also, I don't know that they were subliminal necessarily, but there was a lot of messaging and meanings behind everything he did. So before we get into, all the things, let's talk about, what we saw along the way, that Bad Bunny added to his performance. So Bad Bunny's Super Bowl 60 halftime show was a joyful masterclass in cultural storytelling. I feel like that's accurate description. Every element from opening shots to the final football spike carried deep meaning rooted in Puerto Rican history, identity, and resistance. I feel like you could tell. I feel like it was somewhat obvious that what was going on was, some history over there. We kind of lazy, so we don't always go ahead and find out what's going on. Bad Bunny brought out Puerto Rican culture to the Super Bowl. Yes, but more than that, he brought an entire neighborhood, complete with his history, struggles, joy, music, food, people, and values. Here's a breakdown of the references you might have missed. Bring it on, because I wasn't in tune necessarily to everything that was going on. What's up, Jai Tony? Good morning. Happy Monday. Did you watch? Oh, well, I know, we left at Ready to Love. So did you watch Bad Bunny's performance last night? It was good. That was my favorite song. I was very happy because, although I don't speak Spanish, I'm surrounded by my Spanish brothers and sisters, and so they keep me in the know. I've had to teach classes of people who don't speak any English, so I'm really good at communicating, even though I don't necessarily speak the language. But I put my Bad Bunny songs on my playlist for my morning walk, and he came over here and he played all the songs I like, so I was having a good time. The show opened with a short clip showing lush green fields of Puerto Rico before transitioning to a grand stage at Levi Stadium. The field was filled with people in grass and bush costumes. I did not know that those were people in all that tall grass. I thought it was just, part of the set. Yes, all of that tall grass was actually people, and you can see there's video of them running off the field. Let's see. The field was filled with people in grass and bush costumes alongside workers wearing traditional pava straw hats and a direct homage to the Habaros and 19th century agriculture workers who worked Puerto Rico's sugarcane fields. It's rich in something, honey. That's why they over here calling it, a Republic of America, even though they want to act like this man ain't American. It's so confusing. Y'all clear people need to get it together. You know what I'm saying? How many of y'all be on cruises to Puerto Rico and vacations to Puerto Rico? You know what I'm saying? Over there looking a fool. Hola, como esta? And then we'll come back over here, act like you prefer watching Kid Rock do whatever he was doing over there. Anyway, Bad Bunny emerged holding a football, which reappeared at the show's conclusion with powerful symbolism. He wore a custom white leather football jersey designed by Zara. I did not know Zara was a Spanish fashion brand. I did not know that. And styled by his frequent collaborators Storm Pablo and Marvin Douglas Linares. The back of the jersey featured Ocasio, his and his mother's last name rather than his father's surname, Martinez, a deliberate choice honoring his maternal lineage. Wonder why it is? That is. I don't know the story, but you know, shout out to my mama. That's what Bad Bunny did. That was so like everything so intricately thought out. I was looking at it like, yeah, it looked like not this picture here, but last night at the Super Bowl. I don't want to do too much with that because they be copyrighting people for using their stuff. But it looked like a version of a football jersey with the oversized shoulder pads and stuff. But the people said he had on a protective vest. And you know why, child. But I was like, did he make the shoulders big? And, you know, must have been kind of hard to sing. Like he performed with all of that, you know, stuff on. Anyway, traditional Puerto Rican instruments fill the stage, representing bamba and plena music, traditions that Bad Bunny incorporates into his work. He does. And, you know, if you're not used to listening to Bad Bunny, I don't mind that I don't speak Spanish. Most of the time, like I could kind of figure out like the gist of what the song is about, even though I don't speak the language. But you can tell like his influence, like from his, you know, that song that I just played is talking about him telling his auntie, like he got a lot of girlfriends. He fucks to take them all to the VIP and take a selfie. He got to lots of girlfriends. I believe that. He probably always has, even as a little boy. But, you know, you can tell in his music that he pulls from, you know, the music that his mother, and I don't know what his father was doing, but he didn't get no honor over here. And his aunties, you know, was listening to. It's kind of like, you know, how the younger generation Black kids reference like Marvin Gaye and, you know, the Temptations and Stevie Wonder. So he pulls a lot. You can tell. And my neighbors are older and they party, you know. Puerto Ricans party. They don't really need a reason. They just, you know, they like to partake. But my neighbors are older, and so I could tell the difference in the music, and I can hear it, like, you know, how he pulls some of the old school stuff together with what's going on. He's a, you know, Puerto Rican. He's a hip hopper. What the hell? My computer making decisions without me. The tambourine-like hand drums used specifically in plena music. Unlike regular tambourines, panderos don't have metal jingles. They come with a set of 3 different sizes: primo, small. See, we're gonna get a lesson. Primo, small. Segundo, medium, and tercero, large. I don't know if I said that right, but you know, I'll get corrected for sure. Each producing a distinct sound. That's cool. Puerto Rican's national instrument, a 10-string guitar that produces island signature sound. I'm here for it, child. A percussion, how do you pronounce it? Gyro, a percussion instrument made from hollowed out gourd with grooves cut into the surface. When rubbed with a stick, it creates a distinctive, raspy, rhythmic sound central to Puerto Rican music. The Taino indigenous people may have invented this instrument. Y'all need to go back. Yeah, and when I say y'all, I mean all of us. Good morning, T. I know you was watching the Super Bowl because that's what you do. But what did you think of Bad Bunny? Did you enjoy his halftime show? Maracas, rattles traditionally made from a fruit of higuera tree filled with seeds or pebbles. It's just so interesting to me how, you know, we can take things like fruits and, you know, gourds and make instruments out of. I think, you know, one thing about Puerto Ricans that's different from the Cubans and the Dominicans and some Puerto Ricans, but most of the ones I am around, they are very proud of their blackness. They are very proud of all the cultures that make them Puerto Rican. Because I feel like, Puerto Ricans are a mixture of a lot of things. They're proud of that. These Puerto Ricans that carry their flag around all the time in their car, on their house, they're a very prideful people. And so, yeah, and you can see in them the swag that comes from their African heritage. Palitos, two cylindrical hardwood sticks used for percussion. Sincero, a cowbell that adds to the traditional sound. These represented centuries of Puerto Rican musical tradition, blended Tiano, African, and Spanish influences. Yeah, you could hear it, because whether or not you know what he was saying, you definitely wanted to, oh, yo. The stage featured a miniature casita, little house, just in case you didn't know. So the little house that was on the stage is referred to as a casita. Recreating the iconic set piece from Bad Bunny's No Me Quiero Ir de Aquai. I'm not familiar. I mean, maybe I am, but I don't know about the title. Residency at San Juan's San Miguel Arlet Coliseum. During that residency, the casita serves as a VIP area where celebrity guests would join the performance. Hey, VIP. Okay, now I get it. So he had VIP right up there on the stage. Okay, now. At the Super Bowl, the casita became the centerpiece of Puerto Rican vecindad neighborhood. Vecindad neighborhood. I feel like Elmo over here. I feel like, yeah, it was a nice show. T is hard. She's a hard one. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to work real hard, Bad Bunny, if you want to, bring her on over. But I don't think it'll be that hard. You know what I'm saying? Because it's good music, and she recognized good music. So anyway, yeah, so the Puerto Rican vecindad, I'm going to have to check that. That's his neighborhood, brought life with Pedro Pascal, Cardi B, Jessica Alba, Carol G, Alex Earl, and a young Miko dancing inside around it. Did y'all catch all that? Because I did not. Recreating the atmosphere of Parte de Marquesina, the quintessential Puerto Rican house party. I got to go back in. I did not see Cardi B during the performance, but I did see her online afterwards. Jessica Alba, I ain't see her either. So I'm going to have to go back and, watch it again, obviously, and look for all the people. Go back and look at it again. So, the Super Bowl can get even more numbers and streams and things, the kinds that they don't, like to cop to. Did anybody go watch Kid Rock? Probably not anybody that comes over here, but, Okay. I lost my space. Where was I at? We was talking about Cardi B and them. His mother, Ocasio. We went over all the instruments, and while I'm looking through my notes, can y'all like the video? Just let the people know you're having a good time. Oh, okay. I see Jessica Alba now. Did not see all of that. That's cool. Anyway. We did the casita. I'm going to start saying that. The stage transformed Levi Stadium into a living, breathing Puerto Rican neighborhood with meticulous attention to cultural details. Paragawa stand selling Puerto Ricans' beloved shaved ice treats, a staple of the streets vendors across the island. See, now you could go back and see and know what that was. You saw Cardi? I didn't see Cardi. I was looking at those girls down on the field doing a pop, pom, pom, a do, and then, Cardi was back there. Yeah, we got to go back and watch it again. We did with Kendrick. There were so many messages in there. I was like, oh. But you got to enjoy the performance in the moment and then go back and see all the little, intricate details. Nail salon representing service businesses that anchor neighborhood life. I ain't see the nail salon either. I was probably dancing. Raw sugarcane stocks on display, honoring the agricultural workers and the corp that shaped Puerto Rican's economy and history. Boxing, people on stage nodding to Puerto Rico's rich boxing tradition. People selling platanos. Honey, I love them. I should get me some. If you are tired of French fries, them platanos are so good. And I've learned it's a dietary staple. I know it's a staple. And y'all done really hooked me with the platanos and the potato balls and the empanada chow. You'd think I was Puerto Rican time I come out the mall around here. The barbershop, a classic neighborhood shop. All these barbershops around here is filled with Puerto Ricans. It's all Puerto Rican, the barbershops are. Domino tables. There's a lot of cultural similarities. Barbershops, nail salons, dominoes. You was home talking about, I wonder if sugarcane will grow here. Probably not. In Louisiana, though, I feel like definitely it needs to be hot a lot of the time. But, I don't know. I'm not the agricultural girl. See Kylie. We'll check with Kylie and see if that's a thing. Domino tables. People playing dominoes, a social game that brings Puerto Rican communities together. I don't know about Puerto Rican communities, but it can divide the hell out of a Black community that get over to that table slapping dominoes. Enter at your own risk. A kid sleeping, a child asleep in a chair while the party raged around him. A universally relatable image from any Latin family gatherings that go on into the night. Yeah, I feel like we could relate to that too. We got sent to the basement. We would be down at T's basement roller skating. We had a good time down that basement. But we were relinquished to the basement while people was upstairs. And every now and then one of us would sneak upstairs, see what was going on. Next thing you know, we would all be upstairs, then we would all get kicked back downstairs. All you saw was Lady Gaga. Was it sure? I felt the same way, Tony. Every time I see Lady Gaga, I never know it's her. And so I was like, is it Lady Gaga or is it some very famous Puerto Rican, entertainer that I'm unfamiliar with? So yeah, my man Googled it and was like, yeah, it's Lady Gaga. It says, sharp-eyed viewers spotted Villa's Tacos among the set piece. This is a real Puerto Rican business, not just a prop, representing the actual small business that makes up Puerto Rican neighborhoods. So when we go to Puerto Rico, we got to get some tacos from Villa's Tacos. NBC Sports reporter Rohan what's his name? Carney. Sorry, guy. Tweeted that the couple on stage right before Gaga's performance actually got married during the performance. The couple had originally invited Bad Bunny to their wedding, and he invited them to get married during the halftime show instead. Variety confirmed that Bad Bunny's representative that he served as their witness and signed their marriage license. I mean, okay then, get married during the Super Bowl at Bad Bunny's performance. The stage was packed with wedding guests, including children, all celebrating in real time as the ceremony took place. The newlyweds later cut their wedding cake during Bailey, I don't know how to say that, child. During Bailey Innovitable. Y'all don't know what I mean, and I don't either. A little boy sat watching Bad Bunny's Grammy Album of the Year acceptance speech on TV in a recreation of the moment from just 8 days earlier when Bad Bunny made history. Bad Bunny then handed the child his actual Grammy. I did see that. The boy was Lincoln Fox, a 5-year-old child actor. However, many viewers believed it was that he represented Liam Conillo Ramos, the 5-year-old detained by ICE in Minnesota on January 20th. The symbolic connection. Oh no. God dang it. Technology. They booted me out of here. Please stand by. Okay, we to the taco place. The People's Wedding, and The Little Boy. Okay. Recreation of the moment from just 8 days earlier when Bad Bunny made history. Bad Bunny then handed the child his actual Grammy trophy to hold. I mean, I guess he could represent both things. The boy was Lincoln Fox, a 5-year-old child, however. Many viewers believed he represented Liam, the 5-year-old detained by ICE in Minnesota on January 20th. The symbolic connection was intentional. Okay, a child of similar age during a performance centered on immigration and belonging, receiving recognition, love instead of detention and trauma. So it was like a double meaning. Fox posted on Instagram afterward, "I'll remember this day forever." I'm sure he will. Um, it was my truest honor. He added, Bad Bunny. Why does he have an Instagram, this 5-year-old? What'd you say, Tony? It was a good halftime show, good music, good choreography, neighborhood scene. He nailed it. I agree. I feel like if you didn't enjoy it, you were just looking for a reason, like to, be mad about something. Which part was dope? The Lady Gaga or the little boy? I thought that was so cute. Yeah, a representation of watching your people be successful is a must. I think that's the problem. I think that's why there's so much backlash on this performance because they want to keep you in a certain image. You know what I'm saying? And that ain't what that's about. So shout out to Bad Bunny. He's a young man over here doing big things. Dozens of violin players emerged from the sugarcane fields to perform Monaco. That's my song. Creating dramatic cinematic moment as the violins swelled. Bad Bunny delivered his powerful message in Spanish. Child, I'm not going to sit here and read this thing in Spanish because it'll be very bad and embarrassing. So, translation. Let's get to the translation. My name is Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio, and if I'm here today at Super Bowl 60, it's because I never ever stopped believing in myself. You should also believe in yourself, your worth. You're more than you think. Trust me. It was a direct address to young people, immigrants, and anyone who's been told they don't belong, delivered in the biggest stage in American entertainment in Spanish by someone who worked at a grocery store just 10 years ago. 10 years ago, Bad Bunny was just down to the grocery store, child. That's why they don't want you to watch. That's why they don't want you to turn it off because of these messages telling you, what you can be and to strive for those things. The iconic coque, a small tree frog native to Puerto Rico and a beloved symbol of the island, made an appearance during the performance. I have to look for that. I haven't ever seen it here, obviously, but I hear about them, through my community all the time. So I'll have to look, Now, like I said, you pay attention to little details on the second time around that you didn't know were there. The coque has been a signature element of Bunny's recent tour, as well as Debbie Tiara Mas Fotos short film in which Frog was named Concho. Okay, so I didn't know that, but I do know about the little frog that they talk about. And represents Puerto Rican identity. Its distinctive call is also associated with the island that Puerto Ricans living abroad say hearing the coque instantly transport them home. Yeah, that's probably why the people here talk about it so much. Donita K, owner of Brooklyn's Caribbean Social Club, one of the last surviving Puerto Rican social clubs in New York City, appeared on stage serving Bad Bunny a drink from a set piece resembling a shop. Cool. So he went down to the spot. He went down to the neighborhood spot and was like, I'm performing at the Super Bowl. Can you just come over here and be a part of my performance? That's crazy. Nice. He not only brought in, big stars, he brought people from the community to be a part of his performance. Bad Bunny immortalized her in his song Nueva York, New York and Puerto Rican slang. Oh, that's what that is. Nueva York. See, now I know what he was saying because I'll be saying it all the time. Don't even know what I was saying. Okay, that's just saying New York. Which addresses the Puerto Rican diaspora and migration experience. The shop was named Conjillo, which is rabbit, a reference to Bad Bunny's nickname El Conjillo Malo. So that's where that came from. He's a little Conjillo Malo, Bad Bunny. It's the bad rabbit. El Conjillo Malo, the bad rabbit. Just I don't speak Spanish, so forgive me. Charge it to my brain, not my heart. And his foundation function day. Oh, stop. The Good Bunny Foundation. There we go. So, so your boy showed up. White plastic chairs appeared throughout the performance, most notably with Ricky Martin. Ricky Martin looked good, y'all. Now, bumba, what he say? Living la vida loca. Remember when Ricky Martin was on General Hospital? That's where I met him. I was too old for Menudo. By the time Ricky Martin joined Menudo, I was already off and grown and doing other things. So I was like into that old school Menudo, and Ricky Martin came in as the new school Menudo, so you could see him like little boy Menudo. And then, yeah, that's where I met him on General Hospital, child. Anyway, he looks amazing. You got to think, Ricky got to be close to 50 at this point, if not already 50. God dang it. This thing just don't want me to be great. I'm getting to the end, y'all. But I feel like, we can watch it again and know what all these little things are and what they mean. And, just kind of recognize how much energy and art that was put into creating this performance. I didn't expect anything less. I think he spent a lot of time, when he knew he was going to be here, preparing, even like I said, going into the community and getting people from these like well-known establishments, the barbershop and the bar in New York. Anyway, white plastic chairs appeared throughout the performance, most notably when Ricky Martin sat on one during his segment. These chairs are a direct reference to the cover art of Bad Bunny's Grammy-winning album, DB Tier Mas Fotos. The white plastic chairs are ubiquitous in Puerto Rico. Found at every family gathering. They around here to our family gatherings too. Everybody got them plastic chairs. They're humbled, functional, and deeply tied to the social fabric of the island. By prominently featuring them on the Super Bowl stage, Bad Bunny brought the visual language of his album to life and reminded viewers that the most meaningful moments often happen in the simplest settings. Ain't that the truth? You be looking for all this flashy shit, and really, like, when you look back, and I can imagine how it must have felt for the people who are from Puerto Rico to see some of those things, and the whole setup, the taco spot, their energy must have been like super on high. Also, Ricky Martin in the Living La Vida Loca hitmaker presence on the Super Bowl stage was monumentous, considering how he broke down so many doors for Latin artists and did to get to where they are today. When he first started a couple of decades ago, Martin was told he had to sing in English to be accepted by the mainstream audiences. After Bad Bunny's historic Grammy win, Martin had released an open letter saying, "You won without changing the color of your voice. You won without erasing your roots. You won by staying true to Puerto Rico." It was extra special to have Martin up there for his first ever Super Bowl halftime performance, singing fully in Spanish. That's awesome. That just gave me chills. I didn't know he never performed at the Super Bowl before. At one point, Bad Bunny stood elevated on the stage in a pose that paralleled Beryl Lewis' 1965 painting, Sermon on the Mount, a powerful image of a figure addressing and uplifting the crowd below. Nice. Power lines. This was very dope. Power line poles stood prominently on stage during El Apagon, the blackout. Bad Bunny climbed up on them while performing. I was like, it reminded me of Rihanna when she was floating around in the sky. I was like, he is up there dancing on top of that thing. Whew. And the people was looking for him. I was a little bit nervous. Anyway, Bad Bunny climbed up one of them while performing, a direct reference to Puerto Rico's ongoing electrical power crisis. Wonder if that's still from, the hurricane and they still dealing with electrical problems. Can you imagine? And Puerto Rico got a lot of mountains. Habaros in Pave climbed the poles, which then exploded, symbolizing the island's frequent blackouts and failing power grid. El Apagon itself is a protest song about the island's infrastructure failures following Hurricane Maria. I figured government corruption and the gentrification threatening to displace Puerto Ricans from their own land. Sounds familiar. The power lines, the exploding poles, and the independent flag made the political statement impossible to miss. Yeah, and because, after that hurricane, I feel like, the colonizers will go over there, build a bunch of resorts so they can enjoy the fruit of the island and attain more wealth. And they don't want this man to come perform. Get out of here with that. As Bad Bunny performed El Apagon, I'm sure I'm saying it wrong, which is already one of his most political songs, he held up a Puerto Rican flag in red, white, and light blue. This was not the standard dark blue of the official Puerto Rican flag, but the light blue associated with the Puerto Rican independence movement. Uh-oh. They got something going on over here. It's light blue. The flag choice was deliberate, and I'm sure it was, and historically significant. In his song La Mudanza, Bad Bunny says, y'all, I'm going to get to the translation. It says, here they killed people for showing the flag. That's why I bring it everywhere I want now. This referenced Law 53 of 1948, known as the Gag Law, which criminalized displaying of the Puerto Rican flag in an attempt to suppress the independence movement. The law wasn't repealed until 1952. That explains why, I'm telling you, these people don't play about their flag around here. It be hanging from the rear view mirror. It be, the license tags, everything. So now that I know this, that explains why they're so attached to it. So, I wonder if these kids know why they busting around in their little souped up Honda Civics with, the smell of weed smoke permeating through the air and the, speakers bumping. Yeah, he said, that's right up your alley, Ja Tony. You gonna go out and get that Bad Bunny album? Anyway, Bad Bunny ended the performance with Cafe Conron, during which he spoke his first and only English words of the entire show, God Bless America. He then proceeded to name every Latin American country by name: Mexico, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Venezuela, the Dominican Republic, Cuba, and more, before ending with USA and Canada, and finally Puerto Rico. The football from the beginning reappeared. Bad Bunny held it up to the camera, revealing the words inscribed on it, "Together we are America." Then he spiked it. As he walked off the stage, the big screen displayed a final message: the only thing stronger than hate is love. Well, every element of this performance was deliberate. I mean, I expected that it was. I'm going to go back, like I said, and look at it again with different eyes because, there were a lot of messages there that I didn't know. And I'm assuming a lot of us didn't. So not everybody was a fan of Bad Bunny's performance. And I'm sure there's no surprise there. Your head Cheeto in command, Grand Wizard Ump a Lump. He did not like it. Now I'm wondering, why was he over here watching it in the first place? Didn't he say he was going over to Turning Point or what have you and watch Kid Rock do whatever he was doing? Why is he over here watching our performance? We didn't ask what he thought about it. Even he didn't want to watch Kid Rock. Ain't that some? And this is the funny thing. As much as they talked about that, they were all watching. They all wanted to see. So they'll come back now and probably say how it was a great outcome, over there. From what I heard, I looked up a little bit this morning, and they was over here trying to get people to buy merch, because that's what all of those things, are always about over there. Turning Point be over there trying to get y'all's coin, get some hats and things. This is what he had to say. The Super Bowl halftime show was absolutely terrible. One of the worst ever. It makes no sense, an affront to greatness of America, and doesn't represent our standards of success, creativity, or excellence. Nobody understands the word this guy is saying. You don't understand what he's saying. I mean, somebody do. A whole lot of somebodies. I like 85 million people that love him so much. And then some of them don't understand, but they like it anyway. And the dancing is disgusting, especially for young children that are watching from throughout the USA. It says the man who just had Nicki Minaj over to his house. Stop it. And all over the world. This show is just a slap in the face of our country, which is setting new standards and records every single day, including the best stock market, oh, here he go lying, and 401k in history. There's nothing inspirational about this mess of a halftime show. And watch it. It will get great. It says, and watch. It will get great reviews from fake news media because they haven't got a clue what's going on in the real world. Oh, we got a clue. We heard y'all had an island over there where y'all were harboring small children and other nefarious things. What else, child? And by the way, the NFL should immediately replace this ridiculous new kickoff rule. Makes America great again. Make America great again. Child, that's what he had to say. I'm not sure anybody cares what he had to say. Chris, shut up. Chris had a tweet over here. I think it's safe to say they need me. For what? What do we need you for? You don't be a hater. Let me see what some of the people said. No one needs you. We're good. That's what the people said, Chris. Just looking at the comments. So even if he didn't watch the Kid Rock show, somebody said, so even he didn't watch the Kid Rock show. Yes, no. I didn't understand a word, and I was so proud to be American and share this place with so many great cultures. That's how you should be feeling. That's how I was feeling. I need him gone. Chris, they said they need you gone. When will it be out on YouTube? I'm sure it's out now. So, Chris over here hating. Do y'all need him at the Super Bowl? I don't. I'm fine. Lady Gaga came over here, did her little thing. I, at this point, still didn't know for sure if she was Lady Gaga. Yeah, she was over and she was singing. The song was Bruno Mars. Okay, here go to VIP. A boop, boop, boop. Yeah, that's what I was looking at. Cardi and them is over there in the VIP. I missed that. So, yeah. Together we are Americans. That's the football that we were talking about. Here he comes with all the instruments out on the stage. He looks so cute. Here's the people at their real wedding. Well, then what do you do afterwards? You know what I'm saying? I'm guessing Bad Bunny had a setup for them to leave the stage and, go somewhere, and continue the party. I mean, congratulations on your life. Happy, kiss the bride, boom. Somebody, Casey, that made me feel more proud. That made me feel more proudly American than anything Kid Rock has ever done. Girl, ain't nobody even thinking about Kid Rock. Here it is. You can see like all the grass people running off the stage. That is very dope. They could like literally change the stage, while we're watching. I did not know that those were grass people. I definitely thought those were just stages. Here's Ricky Martin looking amazing, like I said, doing his thing. First time at the Super Bowl. Wish he would have had a little more time, but they don't be having that much time. So yeah, the only thing more powerful than hate is love. I think that's a good way to end the Bad Bunny story. So yeah, y'all. Did y'all enjoy Bad Bunny? He didn't mind Bubba thrusting. Oh, he didn't mind Bubba thrusting it in his face. Oh, do we know who Bubba is yet? The people said it wasn't Bill Clinton. You heard the Kid Rock show flopped. One outlet pulled it from the airing. Oh, why nobody doing all of that? And you know what, Jake Paul, that y'all be over here, giving your money to, boxing with him. He wanted to make sure that y'all turn this off. I don't want to see nobody else black get in the ring with Jake Paul. Y'all are making him more rich and, in this process. Let them fight each other. Stay from over there, Mike Tyson, over there pretend fighting. Um, What'd you say, T? These people that felt like we needed two Super Bowls are the same people that felt like we needed two water fountains. I did hear that sentiment put out a lot. Yeah. And you know what? Go over there. I feel like if that's what you feel like you need to do, take your ass over there. It's fine. We don't want it. We can be over here just fine doing whatever it is we do, without all the mess. So, yeah, even though we were there to see the Patriots. Good morning, Lotus Egyptian Flower. Um, did you enjoy the halftime show? I don't know if you just been in the bushes or what you've been doing, but I just spent the first hour talking about Bad Bunny. Yeah, it was supposed to be about the Seahawks and the Patriots, but yeah, it was about Bad Bunny, and we knew that's what it was going to be about. So Stefan was over there playing on the wrong side. Ooh, what am I doing? He was over there playing on the wrong side, and they lost pretty bad. And then after the game, he lost again. Child, they said that they unfollowed each other. Stefan and Cardi B unfollow each other on Instagram, fueling relationship questions. Wonder what was the straw, Cardi? What was the straw? Was it that he lost the game? I mean, it wasn't all the kids that he had while you were pregnant. That didn't make you go nowhere. According to the Jasmine brand, Cardi B and Stefan Diggs have sparked fresh speculation after fans noticed the two are no longer following each other on Instagram. Screenshots circulating online show that Diggs' name no longer appears on Cardi B's following list and vice versa, with Instagram searches returning no user found when each tried to locate the other's account. The apparent unfollow comes after weeks of heightened attention on the pair. Neither Cardi B nor Diggs has addressed the unfollow nor commented publicly on their current status, leaving fans to draw their own conclusions from the digital move. It's so lame. As of now, it's unclear when the unfollow occurred or what prompted it, but the timing was not gone unnoticed by followers closely tracking the situation. Whether this is a quiet shift or just a social media reset, the online changes have reignited conversations around where things stand between the rap superstar and the NFL wide receiver. That's not the questions I got. Is he going to get, caught up in these charges that he got going on? What'd you say? They unfollowed each other before the game. That's probably why he was what did he try to do? Fight during the game. Did he try to fight? I didn't watch the game. What I do know is Cardi B came over to this man's job and got on stage with Bad Bunny, and he lost, and they unfollowed each other. What you say? Not another baby daddy. Cardi should have kept him to be good time. Yeah, be a good time. I mean, and the baby thing. And now, now he's never going anywhere. She has to clean this up for the baby. I like Cardi B, but she be online popping off and doing the most. And then her and, like I said, Nicki Minaj were on here online on Twitter, tweeting each other, fighting, calling each other's kids names and things. And then, we were over here talking about how, we know Nicki Minaj husband is an assaulter and a pedophile, and all of those things are going over there at MAGA. But then Cardi, you come over here and get with this guy who has a reputation of doing, some of the same things. So Cardi about to go on tour. Break up with the man, girl, so you could go ahead and get focused on work, because the money needs to be made, and, he might be locked up. In other news, your boy Donnie is at it again. He just stay angry. He just stay somewhere looking at lists of things. I feel like he was like the ugly kid that nobody, the pretty girls didn't want to be bothered with, unless he had money. He's like Cam Newton, money is his only asset. They didn't want him around. He wasn't invited to things. So here he goes.
Excluded from this dinner.
Well, I've long learned that I'm not trying to get inside over the president's psyche. It's not a good use of my time. It's not lost to me that I'm the only Black governor in this country, and I find that to be particularly painful, considering the fact that the president is trying to exclude me from an organization that not only are my peers have asked me to help to lead, but then also a place where I know I belong in. And so I've long learned, and I've talked to the people and the children of my state, is that I'm never in a room because of someone's benevolence nor kindness. I'm not in a room because of a social experiment. I'm in the room because I belong there, and the room was incomplete until I got there.
You're saying that he's excluding you because of the color of your skin?
Well, I don't know. I can't speak to the president's intent. It's not lost to me, but I can't speak to the president's intent.
From your perspective, why are you being excluded from this dinner?
Well, I've long learned that I'm not trying to get inside over the president's psyche. It's not a good use of my time. It's not lost to me that
We know why he wasn't invited. This first comment has me cracking it up. It says, sometimes you're not invited because you don't do coke. Is that what they're doing over there? I mean, this doesn't surprise me. Shout out to Maryland for having a Black governor. Do you really want to go and be in that room with those people while they're discussing their next Klans meeting? He got a break from the ref, unsportsmanship like behavior, pushing a dude like that. Y'all talking about Stefan. He has a reputation for being out of pocket, so that doesn't surprise me. Like I said, I watched Bad Bunny, and then I went back to my regularly scheduled program. It's based on skin color, plus Westmore is highly educated. Yes, that's bothersome. You can't be Black and smart, because that's not the narrative. He was over here, and I'm the only one. Like, everybody was in an uproar about him posting pictures of the Obamas with monkey faces, and I was like, "That's right on brand." I mean, I don't let stuff like that upset me. We don't want his apology. We need to be in that room to know what them clans are doing. Well, at this point, they're not going to let us in, so. They moving very publicly. You know what I'm saying? Has anybody ever been invited to a Klans meeting? We need an ally in there. So hopefully somebody in there is not all, on board with MAGA. Hopefully some rooms, when you got brown skin, you got to stay out of. The Black girls was not invited to Epstein Island. That's the best thing I've heard about this damn story, Epstein files, since it came out. So, yeah, hopefully there's some allies in there that would keep us, posted. What's the name will be there? Minnesota's governor. He's the only one that wasn't invited. So there will be some people in there with ears to what the clans are planning. Yeah, why are they so shocked that he's racist? I wasn't. I was like, unpopular opinion. Monkeys and apes are very smart. So I think it's insulting to the monkey to be sometimes associated with humans, because we ain't always as smart as they are. However, I mean, I get the racism behind it, and I was like, that's just shut up. It just was so lame. I was like, all these news people covering that he tweeted that. He's tweeted far worse. He tweeted himself shitting on protesters. So this is just another, thing that he's out here doing. So, okay, Maryland governor, keep Maryland tight. And speak to some of the allies, when they come out. Did you really want to go sitting there with them? Sometimes it's so frustrating to be in a room with people that are not like us necessarily. I have a hard time with it. My mouth has got me into trouble. So I tend to think it's best for me to stay out of places. It's ironic that this is the next story because this particular thing has gotten me into not necessarily trouble, but I'm a patiently petty person. And so I definitely worked my patient and my petty. No, we're done with you.
Lisa Hampton. For the last 2 years, Florida's public universities have been banned by state law from using tax dollars for diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. I spoke with a student with a historically Black university. She says that there's been a change to how they celebrate Black History Month. What were some of those words that you were having pushback on?
So it was Black was one of them, affirmative action I heard about, and then women as well.
It's those words Aaliyah Stewart, in her final year at Florida A&M College of Law, says she was told couldn't be broadcast or published as she makes flyers for her organization, Black Law Student Association.
We couldn't use the word Black in Black History Month. We needed to abbreviate it.
I took those concerns to the university. They replied with this statement. In part saying Florida A&M University has consistently been in full compliance with Senate Bill 266 and Board of Governors Regulation 9.016. We support and have implemented the policy direction established by the governor, the legislator, and the Board of Governors as it relates to DEI and consistent with related federal court rules and words. I'm News 6's.
So this is crazy. Neighbors, this is a lot. A Florida A&M University law student is speaking out after claiming that state restrictions on DEI programs are impacting how students celebrate Black History Month. Third-year law student Aaliyah Stewart says she received pushback while promoting events for Black Law Students Association Talent Showcase. Stewart claims that words on their flyers were flagged, including Black, affirmative action, and women. Women, wow. She says she was told these terms could not be used in promotional materials and the word Black would have to be abbreviated. This left her feeling angry and confused, given FAMU is a historically Black college and university. Florida's 12 public universities are barred from using state or federal funds for DEI programs. FAMU said in a statement that the university remains in full compliance with Senate Bill 266 as it follows the policies directions set by state leadership and related federal court rulings. Stewart is speaking out due to being concerned about cultural censorship. Well, we knew about this. So, I mean, you can't put it on the university because they're going to take the money away. Hey, Motown investor. They are going to take away the funding if we use terms like that. That hand-signing ape's last words were humans he saw are stupid regarding Earth. You talk about a Planet of the Apes? Yeah. Dave Chappelle episode about the Klan, eye opening for me. He had so many. He had so many. The old Dave, the new Dave be saying stuff that be cringy, real cringy. I still like him, but sometimes I'll be like, ugh. So as I sip from my black cup, I feel like the university, their hands are tied. There's not anything they can really do about it because, they're going to strip away funding. So, girl, you're going to have to be more creative when you're making your flyers. Speak in a language that we know, you know what I'm saying? And, they'll have to go back and rewrite things down. she's bringing light to the situation, and I appreciate her fighting, but use another word. You know what I'm saying? Because we're smarter than that. So we don't have to, necessarily comply as students, trying to celebrate Black History Month is, Black history is every month. You know what I'm saying? So just change your celebration. We gonna celebrate during the month of February. We gonna spotlight things during the month of February. But what is the whole program about? And I feel like you can figure it out without using the terms that they took off. You can't even say woman, which sounds crazy to me. Ladies, I mean, there's other alternatives. Oh, I seen that on YouTube, that ape that was like, he was about to pass or something. And he was like saying, be good to the earth. We don't know how to do that, but I did see that, So, I mean, calling Trump and them apes is like an insult to the apes because they are, far smarter than some humans. But, I get it. Like the whole Obama thing, but to me, that was just stupid. This is funny. So it kind of sparked some, gave me some inspiration. I have t-shirts, cups, mugs, and then we'll get into that a little bit later. I mean, on another day. But I was at work and my clear coworker, not a hairstylist, she's a front desk person. And myself and the other POCs were having a discussion about keratin, what do you call it? Brazilian blowout. We were just discussing how we do not want to straighten our hair. You know what I'm saying? Enters the clear lady who probably shouldn't have involved herself in this conversation because, for many reasons. So I said, I don't straighten my hair. I like my curls. I'm not putting nothing in my hair to make it straight. If you can't be satisfied with this texture, well, then, you have a problem. I rarely even blow my hair out. But, and I used to, like back in the day when we were growing up, I've had relaxers in my hair. Don't know why, but I mean, it was just a thing. We were out here like trying to have straight hair. This is like from childhood. But she, the clear woman walks in here, interrupts the conversation, and she said, I just love it when, some of the girls who, with the little curls, like, I just love how some of the girls, she kept stimmering. I was like, the Black girls? And she was like, yeah. And I said, well, don't ever be, hesitant to call me Black, because that's what I am. And it's not offensive. And she said, for some people it is. And I was like, who? Not anybody Black. Hopefully not. I mean, for those that are, yeah, I guess the ones that she's around. So, and I was like, and in other situations, like she skirts around saying Black. It's almost like she can't spit it out. If she's talking about a client, a lady called in and she's ethnic. And I said, my ethnicity is not my hair color. And there's plenty of non-POCs that have kinky curly hair. So you don't even make sense right now, but she's just so uncomfortable saying Black. So I printed Black on all my t-shirts because, in the industry, we have to wear Black clothes, Black shirt, everything. So I put Black on everything, green shirts, red shirts, yellow shirts, Black shirts, white shirts. Black, 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 Blackity Black. So if you're that uncomfortable saying it, every time you see me, it's going to be, we had a meeting after I started doing that. Can we not we can't wear, graphic t-shirts that have like Gucci or, any of the name brand designers. And I'm like, really, Cuban man? We are having a meeting in this private owned space because your clear receptionist is uncomfortable with the word Black. The uniform is supposed to be Black. So yeah, and all the little non-melanated clients that come in here, they're uncomfortable because my shirt says Black, but I do it anyway. So, send me home. That's unfortunate, but we're gonna have to figure out how to maneuver around some of these things. Target is over here. Y'all left Target. And Y'all left Target and they trying to get y'all back. They got a little, some merchandise over here for Black History Month if you're interested in picking up some of what Target is putting down.
All right. Black History Month at Target. Pretty brown ting. Because that's how I said what I said. Nothing like a sassy Black woman to start the morning off. Yo, Afro picks and combs. Cool. Bill Cosby's sweater. All right. Oh, shit. Roots, the bag. All right. Here we go.
I'll be at Target. But I'm wondering why there wasn't somebody that didn't say, that lets you know, like DEI kicked all the people out. So now they're in there with, non-melanated people being like, I know, put picks and combs on there. Ciao. Michelle Obama is facing backlash after saying she's mindful about avoiding white-owned brands and intentionally prioritizes buying from people of color. That statement alone has people uncomfortable. Really, not because it's extreme, but because it forces real conversations about where our money goes and who we're supporting. Being intentional isn't about exclusion; it's about awareness. And for some reason, that still hits a nerve. I mean, I've been saying this, and I feel like most of the people in my community follow suit. That's some trigger. The same thing happening to me. That's when I learned to play smarter. Which thing? With the people around you saying, uncomfortable with saying Black. I remember when I was teaching, I would, feel uncomfortable saying Black because I didn't know if it was going to come back to me like as a reprimand, which I'm like, always been very comfortable. I don't even say African American. I never refer to myself as that. I say Black. And so, yeah, I get a kick out of saying Black in front of this lady since she can't, and she thinks that somehow, annoying. So when I walk in there with my cups and mugs and things that everything says Black, it's directed right at her. Why we still in Target? I haven't been to Target to know what's going on in there. So yeah, they trying to get y'all's attention back, child. Get you a sister girl. Said what I said. Those are the images that that they want to put out. And I mean, it's some people out there that's their language. They'll be into it. Probably people still running around the Target. I did see this guy. I didn't save it, but he was, I don't know if he was in Target, but he was in some store that had all of these mugs, and the ones that were saying all these sassy things, Black history and all of that, he had a little machine, and they all had more lead in them than the other cups. That's why we have to be conscious, like Michelle Obama said, of where we're purchasing our things from, because they over here putting lead in the cups and all kinds of foolishness. It's more supporting our own than boycotting them. It's true. And we have a hard time with that. I look at Actively Black all the time, and he was over there saying that I guess at some point, because he had Shador Sanders at some point, representing, and then, when you get over in the NFL, they try to regulate who you, what brands you can represent. But somebody, I guess some of them athletes or whoever had a code so that they could purchase things for their, for their sponsors. And somebody got a hold of the code and was over there purchasing all of this shit from the company without paying for it. And I was like, that's how you kill a company. So you so busy having your grubby paws trying to get something free, and you could possibly kill this man's business, whose sources, his fabric sources are from Black farmers. Like, he puts a lot of work into, supporting the culture. So yeah. Let's be more diligent. I'm gonna start adding that. I did like over the holidays talk about the alternative, the Black alternative to Amazon. So maybe we'll like have a little segment a couple times a week where we look for things and like browse the internet, the Black Amazon internet, so we can start getting used to going towards, because it's there. You know what I mean? We put a little more effort into shopping, you know, along with our own. You say, I love the brothers. I do need them to take better care of their health. Am I missing something? Oh, wearing black graffiti symbols at work. I mean, I work in a hair salon, so I don't work corporate. I understand there's corporate rules, but you know, this is just one person in particular who is the gatekeeper, you know, of the money. So, you know, that's a whole nother subject that I've dealt with. But anyway, speaking of black men, who said that? Black men taking care of themselves. So I saw this and I thought it was interesting. An AI health startup, Lotus AI, raises $41 million backed by JFK's family in Joe, Montana to expand free healthcare access. An AI startup says it's raised $41 million in funding from Kleiner Perkins, CRV, and other investors as it develops a healthcare focused on AI platform designed to support access to primary care services. Reports say the funding round included backing from members of the Kennedy family, NFL legend Joe Montana, and other high-profile investors. Lotus says its app combines personal health records with AI technology and support from licensed clinicians and intended to help users navigate everyday medical questions, next step in ongoing care alongside medical professionals.
That $41 million, that Lotus will become the best AI doctor, powered by real doctors. Imagine the power of 1,000 doctors in your pocket, working to protect your health by constantly analyzing your health records, wearable data, and the latest medical research, all ready to diagnose, prescribe, and refer anytime for free. Sounds crazy, right? But let me show you. Leading investors just bet 40. Hi, Lotus. I'm running low on one of my medications.
Hey KJ, after checking your medication history, I see it's probably your 10 milligrams of lisinopril. Checking the FDA drug database for interactions now. Just a quick look at your latest labs. Finally cross-referencing the clinical guidelines. Okay, done. I'll loop in a doctor for final sign-off.
I just got the prescription. No appointment, no waiting, no bill. This is the future. We built this because there's a huge shortage of doctors, and the ones we do have are burning out fast. Lotus AI makes doctors 10 times more productive by cutting out unnecessary paperwork and insurance games. This eliminates the waste and traditional costs, enabling us to give every American free primary care. The current system has failed us all, so join our mission to rebuild healthcare for patients and doctors. Hi, Lotus. I'm running low.
Sounds interesting. What y'all think about that? I sometimes tend to be a little afraid of AI. The funding is by whom? Investors. They said people from the Kennedy family, Joe Montana. You know, I feel like more people will get on than educate new people to become doctors. They making it hard, like in terms of what they're considering professional, where they're going to get the funding from. Not, again, I don't think it's going to be necessarily hard for wealthy people to have, any of these things. It's keeping people that are not in a certain financial status away from education. I think that's, part of the problem. So I just feel like, if it's free and it's something that's kind of, AI is a big thing. If it can be definitely a positive. There's a lot of negatives about it. I'm tired of seeing AI babies running around talking shit. That's getting on my nerves. But something like this kind of, and it's free, you obviously have to still see a doctor, but it's kind of like a lot of people walking around here not knowing, what the heck is going on with them and access to information. So we'll see, what happens with it, where it goes, and, if it's going to be an asset to us. Let's see. Speaking of doctors, meet Dr. Rebecca Lee Crumpler, the first Black woman doctor in America, 1864, who paved the way for Black women in medicine. Honoring the Black women who built legacies, broke barriers, and changed history. Meet Dr. Rebecca Lee Crumpler, the first Black woman doctor in the U.S. and one of the first Black medical authors. She didn't just heal patients, she wrote the blueprint. In 1883, she dropped a book of medical discourse, one of the earliest medical texts written by Black Americans. And what did she focus on? The very things that white doctors ignored. Infant care from birth age to 5, women's health, pregnancy, and family care, common illnesses in Black communities who were denied care. At a time when our people were refused medical treatment, Dr. Crumpler used her knowledge to save lives and make sure Black women and children weren't left behind. Her legacy proves what we've always known. When Black women lead, we shift the system. She has a book. Would you have picked up her book if it was released today? I don't know, but I'm interested in finding the book that she put out a long time ago. If you can still get your hands on it, the medical discourse in 2 parts. I mean, it's up to us to do our own research. They're taking all the resources away, so we better get up here and see, what's to be found. They're restricting people from moving forward in life. The Reagan spirit is living long in his administration. Yeah, they want to, what do they call it? Hoard wealth. It just doesn't make sense. I don't understand what the end game is when you have a world like I grew up in Flint. So my whole family worked for GM. And so that's a whole generation of, we went to dance classes and, out to eat, on vacations, go to college. There was definitely, like I said, I went to college when Denise Huxtable went to college. So there was a big push in HBCUs. I went to fashion school, but it was in Atlanta. So I was around a lot of Blackness, a lot of Black excellence in my college years. So, yeah, I mean, it's like this little girl over at FAMU, which is a HBCU, where she can't even say the word Black. She, we going to have to move different. We stay ahead of them, obviously. We just don't always have the resources to put into play, to make things on a larger scale. So, these kids, these young kids, introduce them to these things. When you have access to AI medical stuff, like show them what it is. They over here on Roblox getting snatched up by strangers. So we can introduce them to things that are going to create an interest. I know I have clients who are wealthy and who have been able to send their kids to not just school. They get to go to particular schools that have particular, advantages over inner city schools. They get to go to programs that prepare them, you know what I'm saying, before they get to college and things. And so people in the inner city don't have that. And my kids were blessed. They were not, I somehow managed to, be adjacent to neighborhoods that put me in a good position. So you got to move, you got to move smarter than they do. And I don't think it's always hard. They be so caught up in their hate that they don't necessarily see what's going on. Is there celebrity news? We're reaching the end of the day, y'all. Did y'all hear about Little John's son? I I just recently heard about this.
Morning, last seen at about 6 a.m. Near their area, their home there, Baldwin Drive and Mayfield Road. This is in Milton. Hasn't been seen since then. So ran out of his home, didn't take his phone with them. Family and friends say that he was disoriented at the time. So again, if you're just joining us, this is happening right now. Some breaking news. They are searching. It looks like a small pond there. I'm guessing that this is an area of Milton.
So it says a body has been recovered by a search team in Milton on Friday, and it's believed to be Lil Jon's missing adult son, Nathan Smith. Smith was said to have ran from his home around 6 a.m., February 3rd, just a few hundred feet from the neighborhood pond where law enforcement concentrated search efforts. Authorities released few details about the circumstances surrounding the disappearance, but said he may have been disoriented and in need of help. Police suspect no foul play. I don't know. That sounds suspicious. He ran out of the house at 6 a.m. We don't know what it was. That's unfortunate. You know, nobody wants to lose a child. And he was young. What did they say? 27 years old. So, yeah. Prayers for Lil Jon. That sucks. You know, you hate to hear about somebody losing a child. You know, your kids are supposed to live longer than you do. So I hadn't really talked about this story much, but the kidnapping of Savannah, what's her name? Savannah Gentry, her mother. So we're going to get into it just a little bit before we head out. I'm going to start with this.
I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us in a million different ways. We were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story. And then Alan Dershowitz was also implicated in it because of the planes. She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton. We had everything. I tried for 3 years to get it on, to no avail, and now it's all coming out, and it's like these new revelations, and I freaking had all of it. I'm so pissed right now. Like every day I get more and more pissed because I'm just like, oh my God, what we had was unreal. Other women backing it up. Hey, yep. Brad Edwards, the attorney, 3 years ago saying there will come a day when we will realize Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile this country has ever known. And I had it all 3 years ago.
So she says she been new. In 2019, former ABC newswoman Amy Robach was caught on a hot mic explaining what she had on Jeffrey Epstein and how the network did everything not to air the story to protect the American pedophile. I've had the story for 3 years. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who was Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. Robach said that Guthrie alluded to other in interview, including former President Bill Clinton, Harvard University law professor emeritus Alan Dershowitz, and Epstein's former girlfriend Jarlene. What's this lady name, Maxwell? ABC used to be called the American Broadcast Network. They will now be going by advocates for brutal crimes, architects of barbaric corruption, or our personal favorite, access of brutal criminality. I mean, yeah, they've been trying to hide this stuff for a long time. Savannah, they were sending letters over to TMZ and everything, which I think is very weird. She still apparently has decided that she's going to go ahead and pay the ransom money.
We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
So they said they're going to pay. We still waiting to find out. Can you break that story down? I've not been following it. The one about the Savannah, her mother getting kidnapped. So Savannah works for the Today Show. And like I said, last week before I left, there was like more and more and more coming out about this particular story. So her mother was kidnapped from her home in Arizona. The lady is on a pacemaker. It's one of those things where she's taken out of her house and, you know, obviously left things there, the phone, the purse, and things like that. There was blood seen on the scene. They've been investigating, but whoever has her sent a ransom note to news outlets, not just TMZ. They sent ransom to different news outlets, but the news outlets decided not to share the story. They went directly to, you know, the authorities. Harry over there on TMZ, he wanted to come out and share the story. I might have to leave. We got, you know, this ransom letter, which is very odd. The whole thing was all very odd to me and still is. Because in this day and age, like kidnapping is so hard to like do that. Like not like for trafficking purposes. I think when people are trying to traffic, human trafficking, they have no intentions of bringing them back. It's so hard to do that in this day and age where, you know, it's too easy to track the money. So that's not something that you necessarily hear of. But I did hear this lady that broke it down because I was like, this just all sounds so weird. So this was on TikTok, and I don't know, you know, this is just her theory, but it hit hard, close to, you know.
Reported right now is the fact that Savannah Guthrie is in the Epstein files. And what's also not being reported is the fact that she was the first mainstream TV journalist to interview a survivor of Epstein. Let me be clear that this is speculation, but based on observable patterns. So this is a theory that I'm working on right now. NBC executives knew in 2015 that if they actually released Savannah Guthrie's Dateline documentary on the survivors of Epstein called Reckoning, that there would be litigation and political fallout, and very specifically with Prince Andrew, who many of these allegations came from I would say, the most recognizable survivor of the Epstein crimes, who is Virginia Giuffres. And I want you to understand that Savannah gave a voice to Virginia so that she could actually make these allegations that were reaching into the highest levels of power. And this is where I really start to speculate. When we start to look at the psychology of a kidnapping, you can have someone who's focused on money and trying to extort resources out of a family or out of a woman like Nancy, or they could be targeting something different. The targeting could be strategic, symbolic, tactical, almost like someone's trying to reach an audience and get attention. And I could start to observe this pattern when I see that there was a ransom note with an active, valid Bitcoin account that was sent to multiple media agencies, as well as the family being harassed with menacing letters, specifically to Savannah. What if what we're witnessing right now isn't just an abduction, but it is a psychological weapon that is being used? What if in some way this is a type of institutional retaliation against someone who helped speak out? Remember, I told you she was in the Epstein files. It very clearly shows that Savannah wasn't liked for sharing the voices of Epstein's survivors. So was this a lone actor that just had an ideological fixation? Maybe a perpetrator that decided to kidnap Nancy to try to hurt the family or gain money and gain notoriety. Is this a coordinated campaign against media? I want to remind you, there was another very vocal individual who spoke out against Epstein. His name was Charlie Kirk. He openly criticized the US government for the handling of the Epstein files and all of the circumstances. My question is, what exactly are we witnessing? What's not being reported right now is the fact that Savannah Guthrie is in the Epstein files. And what's also not being reported is the fact that she was the first mainstream TV journalist to interview a survivor of Epstein. Let me be clear that this is speculation, but based on observable patterns. So this is a theory that I'm working on right now.
I don't know. Her theory makes sense to me because when I first heard it, I was like, it's just so wild for somebody to be kidnapping. I hate him since he shared the crash scene of, you talking about Harvey on TMZ? Yeah, well, like I said, other news outlets had this story, had these letters, these ransom notes, but he came running over there with, what's his name, Charles, to say, we have these letters, because he got to break the story. But the fact that I'm like, what the hell are these Epstein files? Like, how many, who was writing all this stuff down? He was just over here recording everything. It's just wild. But I do think that, and like she said, it's just speculation. But it definitely makes sense that this is a scare tactic to keep the media to keep their mouth shut. Don Lemon just got arrested. Don Lemon just got arrested, a couple weeks ago, and that's not over. Like, he still has to, deal with that. He's still like in the middle of a case. They really trying to, take him down. Can you imagine being a news, reporter, and instead of coming for you, they, snatch an 80-some-year-old mother? Would that keep your mouth shut? I think it would probably keep a lot of people's mouths shut. And her name is mentioned in the Epstein files because now I want to go back. If I can find it, we'll talk about it some more. But now I want to go back and see, that interview that she did. If you can still find it, you know what I'm saying? But I want to go see, what was talked about over there. Because in my mind, I've really been trying to avoid, not necessarily avoid, but not dig into it because I know like how bad it is. And I don't need any of this Epstein file stuff to convince me that these people are diabolical. That Prince Andrew was something else. Now, them royals, they on a whole nother level of things. So, normally I end on a good note, but, I feel like, keep your ear to the ground and stay black, y'all. That's all I got for today. I will be back tomorrow with some more coffee talk. So enjoy your Monday, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye, y'all.